The last bell of Eastbrook High rang, echoing across the school grounds like freedom's call. Students poured out, laughing, yelling, shoving books into bags, excited to go home. But among the noise, one girl walked alone down the sidewalk, quiet, reserved, clutching her backpack tightly against her chest. Her name was Lena Hayes, the new transfer student who had joined just 2 weeks ago. People didn't know much about her. She didn't talk much, didn't join any groups, didn't sit with anyone during lunch. Some said she came from a small town. Others whispered that she'd been expelled from her last school for fighting. Whatever the truth was, her calm silence and sharp eyes made some curious and others cruel. 3 boys, Derek, Kyle, and Logan, had noticed her since day one. Not because of kindness, but because she looked like an easy target. They were the kind of boys who thought the world owed them respect. Derek, the leader, came from money. His father owned half the car dealerships in town. Kyle was his shadow, always laughing at his jokes, while Logan was the muscle, tall, mean, and quick to anger. They had bullied others before, but Lena's silence challenged their ego. She never reacted, never flinched when they whispered behind her or blocked her locker, and to them, that quiet defiance was intolerable. That Friday afternoon, they followed her as she walked home. The streets grew quieter, fewer people around. Lena's steps were light, almost cautious, as if she knew someone was behind her. But she didn't look back. She turned onto an empty road behind the school, the shortcut toward her small rented house near the woods. That's when a black van rolled up beside her. The side door slid open with a screech, and before she could even turn, Logan's hand clamped over her mouth. Her backpack fell to the ground. She kicked, tried to scream, but Derek shoved her inside. The van sped off, tires screeching, leaving her bag on the road. Inside the van, the smell of fuel and sweat filled the air. Lena's wrists were tied with duct tape. Derek smirked, looking at her through the rearview mirror. "You think you're better than everyone, huh? Never talk, never look at anyone," he mocked. Kyle snorted. "Maybe she's just shy, man." Logan laughed darkly. "Not shy, arrogant." Lena's eyes, though trembling, stayed fixed on Derek. She didn't cry. She didn't beg. That unnerved him. "What, you're not scared?" he asked, tightening his grip on the steering wheel. Her voice was low but steady. "You're making a big mistake." For a second, the van went silent. Then Kyle burst out laughing. "A mistake? We're just taking a little ride, sweetheart. Relax." But Lena stayed quiet. Her mind was racing. She wasn't afraid for herself. She was thinking of how far she could push before she acted. She knew how to fight, but not in a moving van. She had to wait. The van turned off the main road, heading toward the old quarry, a place most people avoided after dark. Trees closed in, the sound of gravel crunching under tires. Derek parked near a clearing. "All right, princess," he said, turning around. "Time to teach you a little respect." Logan grabbed her arm roughly, pulling her out. Her knees hit the dirt, but she stood back up slowly, eyes still cold. The boys surrounded her, smirking, laughing, full of misplaced confidence. "You think you can just ignore us?" Derek said, stepping closer. "This is your lesson." But then, far in the distance, came a low, deep rumble, like thunder. The boys froze. Derek frowned. "What the hell is that?" Kyle turned, squinting at the road. The sound grew louder, the heavy, rolling growl of motorcycles cutting through the air. The trees began to vibrate from the sound of engines. 1, 2, 5, then 10 sets of headlights appeared through the dust. Bikers, big black-clad, helmets gleaming, leather jackets marked with a flaming wolf insignia, rolling down the dirt path like an army. The boys' smirks vanished. Derek took a step back. "What the? Who are they?" Lena's lips curved just slightly, the faintest hint of a smirk. "I told you," she said quietly. "You made a mistake." The bikes formed a line, engines idling, the lights blinding in the darkening sky. The leader, a tall man with a scar across his cheek, shut off his engine and stepped forward. His jacket read, "Iron Wolves MC," across the back, a name the boys recognized instantly. The Iron Wolves were infamous in the region, not for crime, but for justice. They didn't deal drugs or run guns. They protected people the law ignored. Abused women, bullied kids, helpless teens. No one messed with them. Derek's throat went dry. We didn't do anything. We were just," he stammered. The leader raised a gloved hand. "Quiet." Lena looked straight at him. "You're late," she said calmly. The man's eyes softened. "Traffic," he replied in a low, gravelly voice. He looked back at the boys, his face hardening again. You three thought you could hurt a girl and no one would know. Derek shook his head, terrified now. We didn't mean she was. The biker stepped closer until his boots were inches from Derek's. You picked the wrong girl, he growled. She's one of ours. Kyle's jaw dropped. What? What do you mean? Lena crossed her arms. My brother leads them, she said simply. You tried to mess with a biker's sister. The realization hit Derek like a punch. The leader smirked darkly. You should have stayed in school, kid. Now, you learn your lesson. What happened next wasn't violence. It was fear. The bikers didn't hit them. They surrounded them, engines roaring like beasts. The thunder of metal and fire shaking the ground. The boys covered their ears, shouting, backing away. One of the bikers pulled out a phone and started recording. You'll apologize, the leader said, and the whole school will see it. Derek, pale and sweating, turned to Lena. I'm sorry. Please, just tell them to stop. Lena's expression didn't change. You don't get to decide when it stops, she said coldly. You scared me for a few minutes. Now, feel what that's like. The leader nodded. The engines roared louder, echoing through the quarry. Kyle fell to his knees, crying. Logan stumbled back, shaking.
Please, we're sorry,
he yelled. Lena stepped forward, looking Derek in the eyes. Next time you see a girl walking alone, remember this sound, she whispered. It's what follows monsters. Finally, she turned to her brother. That's enough. He raised his hand, and one by one, the engines died. Silence fell over the night, broken only by the sound of the boys gasping. The leader looked at Derek one last time. Get out of here, he said. And if I ever hear you touched anyone again, we'll ride through your house. Derek didn't wait. He stumbled toward the van, dragging Kyle and Logan behind him. The tires squealed as they vanished into the dark. Lena exhaled slowly, the tension leaving her body. Her brother turned to her. You okay? She nodded. Yeah. He put a hand on her shoulder. You should have called us earlier. She looked down. Didn't want to make noise. He smirked. You're still quiet like Mom. She smiled faintly. Maybe. But sometimes noise is necessary. He laughed, slinging an arm around her shoulder as they walked toward the bikes. The others greeted her with nods and quiet respect. She wasn't just a sister to them now, she was one of their own. The engines roared back to life as they rode off together into the night. A wall of steel and loyalty under the moonlight. Protecting their own and reminding the world some people might look quiet, but they have entire armies behind them.